Bob's bullet time. It's true. It's gonna be another crossover Archer parody. Okay, so we need to go through the votes and find the thing that won. Alright, so we're gonna go through. Alright, so if number is greater than max, then I guess we should also keep track of ties and then randomly pick one if there's a tie. Okay, so we should probably just figure it out right here, so okay, so what we want to do is figure out what the max is. So 32 max equals 0 if num is greater than max, max equals num. Okay, so if what star it dot value equals max, we'll do winners. Okay, so then we'll go through the winners. And we'll randomly pick one. So, let's see. This will be winner equals Dashkin math utils random int in range. And that's going to be winner equals the winner's sub-winner, because that is what we stored in here. Okay, so if winner is greater than 0, then we've actually won. Otherwise, we haven't won. Otherwise, like, we voted and nothing happened, so let's just, like, log a warning. Voting ended with no votes cast for anything and nothing able to be selected. And let's just return, because I don't know, something screwed up there. So if winner is greater than 0, info log, the index at has won the vote. And we need to cast that it's actually won. So this is still game mode voting? Yeah, it's still game mode voting. Like, we haven't gotten through it. Like, we just finished the actual implementation of the options on, like, Friday night or something. And then Saturday, Sunday for me was pretty much off. So we're just now getting to actually, like, you know, the guts of voting for this thing. Alright, so if it's greater than 0, do this. Okay, so if winner is less than 0, then, well, I guess we should start off by adding everything to our results. Yeah, that's probably the best idea for that. Let's just add a 0 to everything. So everything will be tied, so basically we should never have anything that's not there. It'll pick randomly if it can. Yeah, okay, so that should always give us a result for the win. Yeah, and there's a lot more to just the voting and all the playlist stuff as well. Like earlier, I was putting together the system that will make it so like our servers can actually config what playlist options there even are and things like that. So there's a lot that has to go in there whenever you're doing anything like this, and getting the actual voting and like the right numbers and stuff is kind of the easy part. It's like literally everything else to get to that point is a giant thing that has to be made. And I think they usually refer to that as shaving yaks. You're like, yeah, I know, I need to get the voting system in there, but first I gotta shave this yak. And there's a lot of yaks to shave. Well, hopefully it won't be a monster task in terms of the stuff that actually has to be done. But there definitely will be things that need to be done for the UI for this to all work. Yeah, for instance, basically I've got this playlist config here, which is what you would use to customize your dedicated server and open up different modes. And this would mean, what this would do is it would add the option set of quadruple jump, and then in your custom modes we would have this quadruple jump game mode, which would always show up in the rotation. So that would be something that you would do, and then it shows up just right there with level foggy night level quadruple jump with the option set properly. Yakety yak, there's so many yaks. And it's also a pretty old reference. One thing, Adam, that Scorp was asking about is the practice arenas and all that stuff. If we're gonna get that in for the update and all that, and I told him Outlook is probably, we'll get something for the practice area, but I wouldn't bank on it being anywhere near complete. Anyway, I'll be right back. And if you didn't notice, I actually did get those gloves I ordered, so now I have the nice new yellow gloves as opposed to the red gloves. So I'll be right back in a minute. So, alright. So we've got our game mode stuff and all of that. I should test out the events for this stuff. Yeah, just talking with Adam a little bit about some of the server setup and all that, because we need to finalize it. There's a few things, like we got right now some servers in London, Chicago, and Sydney, and there's a couple things I'm not happy with. One of them is kind of the gap in the US, like the ping that I'm seeing right now between Washington and Chicago is about 100, and I don't like the idea of pretty much everybody in the U.S. in the big population centers, which are all on the coast pretty much, always having like 100 ping. That kind of sucks. So I'm not entirely happy with kind of the gap in coverage. So we might need to get some more servers of various sizes. Like, they probably don't have to be as big or whatever, but something in Oregon or Northern California, and then something over in kind of the New England area, like Virginia or whatever, is probably where we'd want it. So we'll see. We might not go with the same hosting provider for everything, just because the same hosting provider just doesn't have servers in all the same areas. So we might mix it up a little bit with some things. We'll see. Alright, so we have the game options. I want to test out the events for all these things. So if we go to our events, should be Dashkin UI, scripts, generated, events. Okay, so we have the event is like game mode voting started. So if we throw these events, we should be able to get stuff rolling along here. So I'm going to add some debug buttons so I can actually test the integration. So the integration would be cast vote and all that. Let's find out. Yeah, well, see, I think this update is not really going to be the practice area as much as it's going to be all these game modes. I think we might want to change some of our messaging around the update to be that, just because of what we can guarantee getting in there. Because I'd rather not ship practice area stuff unless it's ready to go. It makes a lot more sense in my mind to just only have complete features. So if we can get like a couple challenges with the right stuff, yeah, sure. But otherwise, I don't know. Let's see. We want a open voting, close voting. We're gonna want vote, and I think that's what we got there. So open voting. Let's do debug underscore in front of these. Close voting, DB vote. Alright. Yeah, the squash court is good enough. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like, if it turns out that we don't have all the practice mode stuff kind of rolled up there nicely, the squash court or whatever is. I mean, we could just kind of. Well, we could think about it next week. You know, do something else. Maybe. Depends on how the game mode stuff works. But who knows? We can always shift maybe something else around if we need to get something more special than the game modes. But I think the game modes might have some real special stuff in them. Like, you know, there's a lot of potential for now every single time you play a new match. Like, it's, you know, it's like, all right, forest stealth mode. Oh, Jesus Christ. I've never played this before, and it might be new and interesting every single time, so it'll be interesting to see. Because that's some of the stuff that I think is going to be real interesting, because right now, the reason why punching people under the goal works is because you can actually see that they're there. And if they can't see you, unless you're jumping around and like doing stuff, then you might stand off on like the side somewhere and then jump in just at that right moment, and they can't see where you jump from and get that last hit on the ball. So it'll be interesting to see how all that works. So let's go to our gameplay utils and start adding things. Yeah, the big problem there with having like the squash court and the rotation is that it needs less players. So, and I don't really want to kick people just because we're switching maps or something. That seems like not a great plan. Because some of that stuff that we really want would be more of a playlist-based maps, and then dynamic dedicated servers. So instead of signing up for a specific server and having the playlist work that way, the playlist works by kind of having you match into different servers. So if you say, oh, okay, you know, I want to go into matchmaking for this playlist, you know, that could just keep you on the same server, but if you left that playlist and went to stuff with like single player or doubles or whatever, so we're going to need to get the level actor. Yeah, the only way to end the squash court is to log in with the admin password and advance the map, so every map would turn into the squash court eventually. I believe if you override the configs with the time limit there, it will actually have the time limit you set, Karakan. Alright, what's our user ID? Let's see, the player controller is... I believe it's just training without GL or anything, because GL, I believe, is the prefix for grasslands. So let's see, cast vote, option picked, user ID. Okay, so we got open voting, closed voting, and all that. So I need to hook these guys up. Alright, so let's boot this up in Chrome real quick and make sure I don't have any boneheaded compile errors. Looks okay. So let's put it up in the game. I guess the other thing is I should go into the game screen and add a hookup. Register for an event. And this is G Event Manager on event. Where was my debug of this? I should probably grab the actual current version of the game that's on prod. Let's go do that. That'll be downloading over there. Alright, so register event. Test example event. G test type, G test key. Okay, so we have a reg event call on the screen. So it's like this. Okay. So if we go to our in-game screen, that's inside of what, the setup method? Alright. Yeah, the HUD is not going to show, but that doesn't mean that it's not actually counting down in the background. Because the HUD isn't going to show in the training level. So that doesn't mean though that there's not, some logic running in the background that'll do stuff. Because right now it's got, 1,200 seconds, and score to win is as 30 is what it looks like. So it's definitely doing stuff. And team size max is sent as well. So basically, I don't know what your password is, so I can't become an admin. Okay, so what I kind of want are these. I want to add to the events.js an auto-generated list of event names that I can use. That's the most secure password of all time. Yeah, basically at that point, like, that request to have the previous training level was, just a kind of an open world training level. Like, if we're gonna do the squash course at training level, we just, stop removing the UI for that, because it makes total sense to have UI if there's actual goals and score and all that stuff. Alright, so voting options changed. Yeah, you're talking about quite a bit of work there, Adam, actually. Alright, let's make sure I didn't add any compile errors. Looks good. Alright, let's boot this up and see what we can do. Alright, so let's get into game so we actually get some of these things. Yeah, have a good one. Enjoy your night. Okay, so what we want to do is open the voting, and of course it immediately blew up on us. Opening voting. Wait, what? This code is not the same as the original version? It doesn't seem to pick up the timescale or goals of the server settings. You sure? Because I saw it in the game options there. I mean, the game time limit is 120. I mean, 1200, not 120. So, you have not changed the game options. It's still set to these numbers, the 1200 seconds and 30 score to win. Your match length is set to that long, and time left is huge, 29 to 30. Score to win 9999999. So the match should now be 12 seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, well it doesn't seem like it's taking any of the config changes at runtime. Did you change the config changes at runtime, or did you change the config changes only in the actual server config file? Because it may be that the at runtime changes aren't taking effect. Otherwise, there's probably some crap I threw in there specifically for the training level to make it so it doesn't do anything. Because I can totally see me doing that to have prevented some other issues from happening. You did it only in-game? Try it with the server config file. What? Freeing bytes from backup pool to handle memory? What the fuck? I don't understand why that got angry at me. Yeah, now I'm having problems with what appears to be the same issue. Where it's trying to do a copy constructor on some of this stuff and it's exploding on it, so I think it's going to be another build issue. So pretty much the stopping point I'm looking for here is where I've actually got the JavaScript events hooked up for the voting, and I can get some of that data inside of JavaScript and print it out. So what that'll mean is that all of our game mode data will be available for me to start scanning in the UI, and with some debug stuff in there. And I kind of expect to get the debug stuff working, and then I'll be rolling in the game mode stuff to the actual game mode flow. We'll pick up the new time of 60 seconds as well. Alright, well, there's probably some other crap in there. I mean, I can run my own dedicated server, right? And take a look at that. Yeah, I picked up my time limit of 20 seconds and the score to win of 2. It looks like properly for this, so I think you got your config wrong, or something like that then. So, I mean, I'll see if this actually ends. It doesn't seem like it's actually ending the game. Yeah, match length is still set to a large thing and score to win, so it's obviously ignoring the configs. So it'll pick it up in some of the stuff, but it's not respecting any of that stuff in the actual thing, which is going to be probably the training levels specific thing is disabling the overrides. So yeah, it's going to be a training level specific thing. That was a bug fix for something else. So yeah, you're pretty much screwed for that. That's baked into the executable. Actually, there's no way to fix that locally. Now that I remember, it's a setting in like if allows local override in the actual level itself. It works on the right. Yeah, it'll work on some levels, but the training level it will not work on. It's got a specific override that says ignore what the host is trying to set. Just set this to unlimited goals and lots and lots of time. Alright, debug open voting. Game mode inviting started. Got event, game mode voting started for key blah with data undefined. Alright, well let's reload the UI.